Hi yogis, welcome to our practice for the third kosha, the Manomaya kosha. We're going to be working with a yoga strap and doing some hip and hamstring opening as a way to work on releasing the fear patterns and some of the tension that we build up from our less helpful or less productive thought patterns. We're going to get started on our mat. You're going to take your yoga strap and just leave that somewhere next to you that you can reach it easily. And if you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a belt or a tie, anything that'll give you a little handle to hold on to. And once you come down onto your back, we're going to take the arms right up overhead with a big inhale. Starting with a grounding sequence to start to calm the mind down and slow the thought patterns. Exhale, bring your arms right down to your sides. And we inhale the arms back up overhead, keeping the fingers wide. Exhale, bring the arms back down. This time we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And we'll start to integrate that leg movement. We inhale, press the heels up toward the sky. Exhale, bend your knees into your chest. Inhale, lengthening the legs, keeping the feet very active, watching that the toes are spread out. Exhale, knees into your chest. Then we'll bring the arms into that movement. Inhale the arms up over your head as the legs lengthen. Exhale, arms and legs come down. Inhale, opening it up as your lungs fill with air. Arms overhead, legs up to the sky. Exhale, draw in towards center. Inhale, arms overhead, feet to the sky. Exhale, knees to chest. Now we'll take a hold of just the right knee, send your left leg out. As you exhale, lift your forehead towards your right knee, and then we'll switch legs to the sky. Draw your left knee in, send your right leg long. Exhale, forehead to knee. Inhale, release. Legs come up. Now we'll go back over to the right knee. Forehead to the knee. Release down. And left knee comes in. Exhaling, lifting your forehead up to your knee. Releasing down as you inhale. Sending the legs back up to the sky. We'll gather the knees into the chest, but this time opening the knees slightly wider than your hips. Start to rock yourself from side to side. And feel some freedom with the hips. There's going to be a movement as you roll over to one side, the hip opens. And as you come back to center, we're going to release the knees down and then pull them back into the chest, moving them towards you and away. That movement starts to open itself up into a circle, circling the knees individually toward each other, and then change the direction of that circle, circle them away from each other. Wrap the arms around, take a big exhale to draw your forehead to your knees, curling into this little ball. Inhale, release your head and your shoulders down. So now reaching over, grab that strap, and we'll start to move into our sequence to open up the lines down the back of the legs, the hamstrings and the hips. We put the strap right across the ball of the foot because that way we can keep the ankle drawn down toward us and we can keep the toes flared open. Taking one end of the strap into each hand, but make sure that your hands are down low enough that your shoulder blades are still planted flat against the earth and the back of the head is resting really nicely on the floor. We don't want to lift or create any tension in the neck or the shoulders. We'll start to pump the legs with our breath. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, straighten. As you straighten, take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance. You might start to work your hands down the strap, give yourself some more space, and again, widen your legs. Just a little bit wider, a couple inches. Taking a few breaths there. And then again, widening your feet. Moving into this nice V shape. And when you get to the widest expression of your pose, you can start to rock yourself from side to side. This is a great way to massage your lower back, the muscles that wrap around the hips and the sacrum. Come back into center, find stillness. Slide the feet together, work your hands back up the strap. Moving into a deep hamstring stretch, using the strap to draw the legs toward you, keeping that bend in the ankles and keep the toes wide. We'll bend the knees and just take the right foot underneath the strap. The left leg is going to come down to the floor. We'll bring both hands onto the strap. Now you have a choice with your left leg, with the bottom leg, and that can either be bent with your foot resting on the mat, or if it feels better for you, it's a deeper version, you can straighten the left leg out. With the right leg, the top leg, we're going to start to sway side to side, a little left and right movement, using the strap to control that movement, making sure you don't go farther than you're comfortable with. And we'll come into an IT band stretch. And this is done by keeping the back of the pelvis flat against the ground and just drawing your legs slightly over your body. And you'll start to feel that fibrous band that runs from the outside of your knee to the outside of your hip. Trying to focus the feeling there. As you come back into center, line the leg up with your body, drawing it towards you, feeling the back line of your leg opening. Then we'll draw the left leg up so that we can switch, bringing the left ball of the foot underneath. We'll take a stretch with both legs, drawing back. This is a nice space to feel the imbalance. We've done more on the right side than we have on the left. So how does that feel different? Free your right leg from the strap, let the foot drop down, or you can straighten your leg out against the mat. So then we have our focus on the left leg. As the right leg lengthens against the floor, we're drawing the left leg toward us. Using the strap, starting to create that side-to-side movement, working into your hip joint. Swaying the leg left and right. We'll take the strap into the right hand, and this is our IT band stretch. We're keeping the lower back flat, so you're not quite rolling into a twist. You're trying to feel that line from the outside of the knee to the outside of the hip, but you're keeping the back of your hip on the ground. That's really the key to focus on the outside of the thigh. Inhale yourself back to center. We'll draw the right leg up and bring it underneath the strap. And now we have a nice deep hamstring opening and it's even. So we've done both sides. We can feel the freedom that we've created comparing this to when you first came up, when you first brought your legs up to the sky. And then starting to work through your progression of opening your feet, drawing the legs back, opening a few inches wider, and again drawing the strap back, using the strap for a greater level of control. When you get to the widest expression of your pose, you might want to start that rocking side to side. Anytime that we can rock in our practice is a great time to calm the nervous system down, to calm the mind down. Feet come back together, working your way up the strap, and we have the deepest expression of that hamstring stretch. We'll bend the knees, let the legs come down, put your strap over to one side, we'll wrap the arms around the legs, and then come right back into that movement that we started with. Inhale, arms overhead, legs up to the sky. Exhale, knees to the chest, wrap the hands around. Inhale, open. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, open. Exhale to center. And then this time, as you exhale, lift your forehead to your knees. Curl into that tiny little ball. Releasing the head and the shoulders down. Releasing the feet down. Now we're going to start to roll over. Pushing yourself up through seated. Make your way over onto hands and knees into table. From your table, you're going to extend your right leg back and start to create these big knee circles. Going deeper into our hip joint here. Knee circles forward, switching, take some knee circles back. As the knee is moving, try to keep everything else in the body very still, especially the shoulders. Don't let the shoulders wiggle around. Then I'm dropping my foot down onto the mat so that the arch of my right foot lines up with the toes on my left foot. The right arm opens up to the sky. Open your fingers really wide on the right hand. If you feel wobbly, you can always take your left foot and slide it back like a little kickstand. We'll come into the full expression of this knee down plank, or knee down Vashisthasana, with the arm up over your head. Dropping the pinky finger down to the ground. Then inhale. Lift it back up to the sky. And then we'll come back into center. Drop your right hand, drop your right knee. Let's go over to the left side. We'll start with those knee circles, warming up the hip joint. It's a circular joint, so we want big circular movements. Switching the direction. Biggest circle you can create, but keeping the rest of your body very still and stable. Dropping the left sole of the foot down onto the mat so that your arch lines up with your right toes. Everything is in one straight line. And the left arm comes up to the sky. Wide fingers. Pressing the pinky toe, the outer edge of your left foot down into the ground. Extend your left arm up overhead. Feel that length down the whole side of your body. Opening back up to the ceiling, and drop the left arm and the left knee down onto the mat. Come back through your table. And we're tucking the toes underneath. We're going to start to move through some cat and cow. Nice mobile spine. Finding freedom in the hips and in the shoulders and the neck. From there, with the toes tucked under, we'll start to lift the hips up into downward facing dog. Now feel the freedom in your down dog. We've already done a good amount of work on the hamstrings to get you ready here. The calves might feel like they need a little bit more work, but we'll come over to your right leg, and just like we did in table, start to make these big expansive knee circles. The rest of the body stays still. Change the direction, circling back. Extend that leg up behind you, three-legged dog. And then we'll draw the knee underneath the body. Step your right leg up in between your hands. Find your high lunge. Allowing the hips time to settle. Keeping your back knee straight, pressing into your back heel. Use your breath to deepen. This is one of the best poses for your lower back and your hips. We'll start to deepen slightly, and then bring your right leg back. Three-legged dog, drop your right foot to the mat. And then just working your way into your alignment for your downward facing dog. Let's go over to the left leg. We'll start with those knee circles. Really big, using the full range of motion of that hip joint, that nice ball and socket joint. Then reversing the circle. See what it feels like in the opposite direction. Extend the leg back, press through the heel, and then carefully draw the leg underneath you and step the left foot up. You can see here I have my hands on the inside of my leg, and this is just letting me get deeper into my lunge than if I was framing my foot. It's a different version of your high lunge. Take your left leg back, send it up into three-legged dog, then let it drop down to meet your other foot. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Bend your knees down slowly. Let yourself fold into a child's pose. From child's pose, looking right in between your thumbs, we're going to slide the heart forward and slither out onto the belly. Take your inhale, lift the chest, lift your head into a cobra. Exhale, head down to the mat. Inhale, rolling up. Nice back bend. Exhale to the floor. And then again, inhale up. Use your upper back strength. As you exhale, lower down. Push into the hands and come back the same way. Slide the heart back. Drop the hips back into child's pose. And then from your child's pose, take a little side bend. Walk your hands to the right side of your mat. Inhale, center. Exhale, walk the hands to the left side of your mat. You're really strongly reaching through your right fingertips as you come to this side. Your inhale takes you back through center and lifts you up into table. Tuck your toes underneath and unfold the body into your down dog. Right leg comes up, three-legged dog. Tuck the knee underneath and step up to the top of the mat. Let your back knee drop down. Take an inhale, come up into your lunge, into Anjane Asana, sweeping the arms up high, creating space in between the fingers for that expansive feeling. And start to work into the hips. Releasing yourself forward, but keeping very close tabs on how your lower back feels, not going so far into your lunge that the lower back crunches. Release your hands down. Start to shift your weight back, shift your hips back to straighten your right leg. We come into half Hanumanasana. This is our prep pose for a split. And you'll see I start to play a little bit with the shape of my back. I exhale and roll down, curving slightly, and then I use my inhale to find a lift in my chest. Pressing your weight forward, come back through your lunge, lift the chest up. Exhale, shift the hips back, half Hanumanasana. Keeping space around the heart, keeping activation in the upper back. Shifting your weight forward again, inhale up into the heart space, lifting your gaze. Lowering down and shifting back. This time we'll add a twist onto our half Hanumanasana. You're going to plant your left hand onto the mat. Open your right arm up into the air. So we have sort of a closed twist. We're turning toward our front leg. Let your right hand drop down. Shifting your hips forward. Inhale into your lunge. Exhale, hands ground to the mat. Curl your back toes underneath. Step your right leg back and up into three-legged dog. Right leg drops down. Downward facing dog. Pressing your hips back, trying to go through that movement of releasing the tailbone. And then we'll come over to the left leg, extending the left leg back and up into three-legged dog. Step your left foot up in between your hands. Taking a moment to settle your lunge, drop your back knee, lift all the way into a full Anjaneyasana, full low lunge, arms overhead, fingers wide. Start to settle your hips forward. Allow the hands to drop down. Start to shift your weight backwards, finding your half split on this side. Keeping some lift in the upper body. You can see I'm just resting on my fingertips. You could even have blocks underneath your hands. As you inhale, shift your hips forward, lift the heart, open the palms forward. Exhale to fold over your left leg and draw your hips back. Inhale, shift forward, lifting the heart, opening the palms. Exhale, folding, drawing the hips back, half Hanumanasana. This time adding your twist, keep the right palm on the ground, open the left arm up to the sky. Drawing back with your left hip crease, create some length on the outside of your left leg. Release your left arm down. Shifting your hips forward. Find that lift as you inhale up into the heart. Exhale, drop the hands down, tuck your back toes underneath. Step your left leg back and up into three-legged dog. And then let your left foot drop down to the mat, downward facing dog. Come back over to the right leg. We'll step the right leg up and then swing the left leg up and step that up. We're doing a little walking split. Lift the leg, take a small step forward, lift the other leg, and take a step forward. Just little steps until you find yourself at the top of your mat. Take an exhale there and drop yourself into forward bend. Going to interlace your fingers behind your head. You can shake your head side to side, sway it forward and back. Let the neck muscles release. On your inhale, come halfway up. You can see I'll start with bent knees. Get my back really straight. Line my neck up with the rest of my spine. Reach my fingertips back and then start to straighten my knees. Let your next exhale drop you down to the mat, and we'll inhale all the way up into standing. You can come straight up into mountain, or you can sway yourself back into a back bend. Draw the palms together into Anjali Mudra and bring that back to your heart. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, release them down, and as you do, we're going to step the right leg back. And we're taking just a shorter stance than we would for warrior, about 2.5 feet wide. Inhale the arms up and square the hips to the front of your mat. We're going to exhale, start to hinge forward from our hip joint, coming out over the left leg, and you'll see I have a little micro bend in my knee as I come down. Draw your left hip crease back. Find the length in the outside of your thigh. Let that keep your back very straight. We don't want to curve to one side or the other. And then we breathe here in our forward bend, working deeply into the back line of your left leg. And just like I did in Hanumanasana, I'm kind of playing with the shape of my back. I'm exhaling, softening and rounding. Inhaling, coming up to flat back. Seeing how that changes the experience of the pose. Now we'll start to open into a revolved triangle. Bringing your right hand to rest onto your ankle or your calf, your shin. The left arm opens up to the sky. And this is where you can feel that strong action of drawing the outside of your left hip and your left hip crease back. Release the left arm down. Come back into your pyramid pose. Release your head, go deep into your forward bend. Take a full inhale to lift yourself up and out of that. Spread the fingers. Let the arms come down behind the back, and we'll take a little counter pose with Yoga Mudra. Expanding your breath up around the heart into the collarbones, lifting your gaze. Let your hands release. We'll step the right foot up to the top of the mat. Then going into an inhale, arms come up. That might go into a back bend if that feels right for you. As the arms release down, we'll take our left foot, step that back, finding that short, very stable stance where you can easily keep the hips squared to the front of the mat. We'll start with an inhale, arms come up overhead. Engaging the inner thighs there before you start to move down. And as you exhale, hinging from your hips, keeping your legs very stable. You might want to put a little bend in the front knee, just slightly like I am as I'm coming down. Draw the right hip crease back. See how even you can make your spine. Make sure that you're not curving to one side or the other. And if you are, shorten your stance or keep your upper body raised a little higher. You can rest your hands on your front leg or on the floor or even on blocks. Seeing if you want to hold the pose or if you want to play with that shape of your back, softening forward into spinal flexion and then lifting up and finding neutral. As you come up into that neutral position, we're going to open into revolved triangle. This time your left hand is going to be on your right foot or your right ankle. The right arm opens up to the ceiling to create this beautiful rotation in the spine. Steadying your breath in your revolved triangle. Make sure that you're not shortening it. There's a fair amount of effort here that goes into our balance. Release your top arm. Let yourself drop all the way down over your right leg. Take an inhale to lift yourself back up. Open the arms up. We'll move into our counter pose for that forward bend, bringing your hands behind the back, drawing the head of the shoulder, the head of the arm bone back. Using that to expand, especially in the upper part of the chest, right around the heart. Be very careful not to shorten the lower back as you lift. Releasing the arms, stepping your left foot up to the top of the mat. You can roll your shoulders a little bit, make sure that they are loose. From your mountain pose, take an expansive inhale. Arms rise up. You can back bend if that feels good. Palms come down through the center line, and we're going to follow that down to the earth, into your forward bend. Once you're in your forward bend, taking any movements that feel good for you. I'm just kind of swaying side to side to make sure that my lower back is loose. You can shake your arms out or shake your head out. Checking what your body feels like after you do your standing poses. That information is going to let you know if you were overworking or tensing any areas. From your forward bend, you're going to widen your toes out to the sides and start to bend your knees down into a squat. It's a nice wide knee squat. Walking your arms out in front just like you would for child's pose. I think of this as a combination of child's pose and a toe balance. But it is a really nice way to work deeply into the hips and the lower back. And then similar to the way we do in child's pose, we're going to walk our hands to the right side of the mat, sinking your weight slightly into the left hip to counterbalance. Inhale yourself through center. Weight straight back into the tailbone. Your exhale brings your hands over to the left side of the mat, and you counter that by dropping your weight to your right hip. There's this nice diagonal action through the body. Inhale, center. Lifting your head, walking your hands back. Starting to draw your knees together. We'll come into the classic toe balance. Arms come right out in front of the shoulders. Lift your head up high. Draw in with your lower belly. Then let yourself drop back. Lower your hips onto the mat. As you come down onto the mat, we'll take the feet nice and wide. Toes straight up to the sky. And you want to arrange your hips on the mat so that your sitting right on top of your sitting bones. Releasing your tailbone. Make sure you're not tucking your tail underneath. As you come forward, as you deepen, sway your upper body side to side. Check that your lower back isn't gripping. Inhale for some buoyancy around the chest and the heart. Your next inhale brings you up to center. We take the right arm to the inside of the right leg. Sweep your left arm out to the side and then up over your head. As you deepen your side bend, think about pressing your heart out, rolling your top shoulder open. We get that great spiral through the shoulder by dropping the pinky finger down. Take an inhale, use that to draw yourself back up to center, and we'll go to the other side. Left arm nestles to the inside of your left leg. Open the right arm straight out from your shoulder. And then as you exhale, draw the arm up over your head, spiraling through the arm. Pinky finger drops down. Pressing the heart out. Inhale, come back up to center. As we come out of this pose, you're going to hold on to the outsides of your legs. Since we just deeply stretched those muscles, we don't want to contract them right away. So we use our arms for a little bit of help to transition. Knees come together, roll yourself down onto your back, and take the knees towards your chest. Just like we started our practice, we're going to inhale the arms up overhead, expand the legs up to the ceiling. Exhale, knees to chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, draw together. Inhale, open. Exhale, pulling the knees in. Letting the knees come open away from each other. Start to roll yourself from side to side, but create that freedom in the hips, allowing any kind of movement that wants to happen there. The arms come to the insides of the legs. You're going to hold on to whatever you can kind of grab naturally, the arches of the feet, or you might want to wrap the first two fingers around your big toe, that little yogi toe lock. Or, since we have our strap right next to us, that is a really good option. If you can't comfortably hold on to your feet in happy baby pose, take your strap over the ball of the feet and use that to create this downward force. Now, wherever you are in your happy baby, start to straighten your knees. Very similar to where we were just on the mat in a seated position with the feet wide. Here we are on our back. Same shape. Draw the legs together, either sliding them together underneath the strap or using the hands to draw together. Bend your knees. Wrap your arms around your legs. Let your feet drop down onto the mat. Your feet start out nice and wide, right out to the edges of the mat. And the knees start this very natural sway to the side, dropping to the right and dropping to the left. As the knees drop to the right, take your left arm and reach up overhead, breathing deeply into the left rib cage. Bringing your arm back down, take the knees up and let them rock from side to side again. Gentle movement, left and right. As your knees go over to the left side, take your right arm up overhead. Let that create this space through the side of your body, using that space to breathe into your right lung. The right arm finds its way back down and out to the side. The knees come up and go back into that gentle swaying pattern. Bring your knees in, wrap your arms around. With an exhale, take your head up. As you inhale, release your feet down. Start to stretch your legs out, settling your pelvis against the ground, tucking your shoulder blades underneath your body. Find a space where you're completely supported and the body is completely comfortable. Letting your breath grow soft. You can stay here in Shavasana for as long as you like. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today.